I'm talking to Charlotte Elson. How you doing, Charlotte?
Oh, fine, except this evening I had the sheriff and two of his deputies show up at my home.
Now, what do you think that they were there for?
They brought a writ of execution, State of West Virginia versus me, case number 04M-545 for judgment in the total amount $8,281.42.
And this is through the magistrate court?
Right, it is. To be paid to the Pocahontas County Magistrate's Court.
Well, I thought they were limited to $5,000 in magistrate court.
Well, they had the unpaid principal less than $5,000, and then the interest. And
now, this is the case where somebody estimated the sheep were worth $600 a piece?
Right, the sheep.
That's pretty expensive sheep. Are they purebreds or something?
Actually, no one ever saw any dead sheep, so no one could say even how old they were, what sex, or anything about it.
No one ever saw the sheep dead? Well, they have to appoint three appraisers to go and check it out, don't they?
Well, yes, they did, but no one even came, left their home.
No, that was just
their
done.
property to even check out anything.
Is this the case where the
Jeff and Rhonda Teller accused my boxer that they stole and, actually sold, and had the mixed breed that I gave my daughter. The sheriff gave me permission in front of the county commission the very next day, within 24 hours after the paperwork was delivered to me, to actually dispose of the dog. The sheriff in front of the county commission gave me permission to let the owner, my daughter, Janet Bradshaw, take that dog back to Florida that day, and she left with it. So there was never a law actually broke.
So that was in the days of Alcar, right?
Yes.
And Alcar had told you that it'd be okay to take the animal away. He wouldn't do anything with it, right?
Right. And that was before the county commission. Joel Cullis and James Carpenter and Rita Griffith.
So that's been a considerable long time ago, hadn't it? 2004, wasn't it?
But anyway, that's what I can tell you about it.
Mm-hmm. So, what did they come and seize from you this evening, Charlie?
The only vehicle that I have, my daughter gave it to me. It was my grandson's 1998 Ford Explorer, green in color.
Yeah. So did it have a lot of miles on it?
Yes, it does have.
So it probably wasn't worth too much, was it?
No.
Now, did they try to take your furniture too?
Yes, they did.
What stopped them?
Only because I said what I own in the house isn't worth, a couple of $100, and you cannot take my son Eric's furniture for my bill.
So they couldn't figure out which furniture belonged to you and which belonged to him, right?
No, I went ahead and told them, so therefore, if they didn't feel what belonged to me, they would want to take.
Right, because you basically don't have a very fancy set of stuff, do you?
Right.
Well, who did they get to haul the vehicle away?
Murphy.
Oh, that's your neighbor up there at Boyer. Yeah. And he loaded the, how did he haul it away? On a truck?
Yes.
And where were they going to take it to?
They told me they had to take it to Marlington. They didn't say where in Marlington.
So it turned out that they didn't take any of your household furniture, but they were going to, right?
Yes.
And you say that the sheriff showed up too?
Yes.
And what was what kind of paper did they give you?
A sheet, and it's called the writ of execution.
Yeah, well, that's a thing whenever you get a judgment against you, they take something that you own,
Right, I know
to pay
where the
for
writ
it.
of execution.
Now you've got this before the state Supreme Court, right?
Yes.
And
They still have their 6 months to rule on my case, and the paperwork that was last sent in was sent in January. I think it was the 14th or the 17th of this year.
Okay, you have a lawyer on this, right?
John Mitchell.
Well, this case has been going on for several years. Was Gene Simmons involved in this?
He's the one that ordered, I guess, the sheriff's department to execute the writ.
So
of
he's only been in there since January. You think there's a chance he didn't know that this was before the Supreme Court?
I think if he is our prosecuting attorney, it should have been his responsibility to look this up.
To find out.
Right.
So, this is the only vehicle that you have?
Yes.
Well, if I remember correctly, the last time they tried to do this, you ended up having a stroke.
I did. And ended up that night in Davis Moore Hospital for a couple of weeks.
Right. And I happened to be there at the time that they were going to try to seize your property, and there was a lot of legal stuff going on at the time, and they ended up not doing that, but you still ended up in the hospital over it.
Yes.
And I remember that you took your blood pressure when I was there, and you had high blood pressure there, and so it seemed like pretty logical they were going to, that was going to cause you to have a stroke.
Oh, yes, and do you remember how many times, every half hour or so, they'd call and say, well, Charlotte, it's the moving van up there. We need to talk to the driver. Well, Charlotte, we just heard that they just left Marlington. They should be there in about a half an hour. We'll call you back. Remember, all day long to after 4 o'clock that evening?
Yeah, but who was doing that calling?
The sheriff's department.
So they were kind of calling to find out if they'd hauled your stuff away?
They wanted to know whether or not the moving van was here.
Yeah.
To load up the furniture, and they kept calling and calling and calling all day long.
Well, that's going to sound like they're trying to harass you, don't it?
It was total harassment, and if Earl McMillian and a couple of the others, they laughed and made fun of me all day long. It was a joke and a half.
Really? Now, you say this was Trooper McMillian? He was the deputy or state police?
What are you talking about?
McMillian. Was he the deputy, sheriff's deputy, or the state police?
You mean it just showed up at my house a while ago?
No. No, that showed up a long time ago.
Oh, that was McMillian, the state police, and then also a couple of different times deputy sheriffs have showed up.
So it was just the sheriff's department did it this time?
Oh, yes. The sheriff and McCoy and Brock.
And they were going to take everything. They were going to take your car, and they were going to take everything you had in your house, right?
Yes.
And how were you supposed to work? Were they going to take your bed?
Well, yes, they would have.
Wow, this is unbelievable. That they would do something like that.
But you know, always keep in mind that the case hasn't had its final ruling yet.
No, it hasn't.
And along with them killing the boxer that I can prove and selling it, no one ever saw any dead sheep.
Right.
They hit me in the back and knocked me out cold, and I ended up in Poconos Moore Hospital.
Oh, you were assaulted?
With pneumonia. I was assaulted right at my front door. I was trying to get in my front door when I was knocked out. But I was beat with his fist.
Well, what did Janice and them do about that?
It wasn't Janice. That was...
oh, that's right. That was back
that was Bob Alcar and... Walt Wyford was, and in fact, I even went down and begged them to get a warrant for him.
And they wouldn't do it?
Walt Wyford would not.
So they They just let you, no justice in that case at all, right, Charlotte?
Absolutely none. And still you going after me like you wouldn't believe.
And have been doing it now for several years.
Since 2000, that was January the 18th, 2004.
And it's been in court several times. Didn't they also throw you in jail one time?
Yeah, for 13 days and the rest of the month on home confinement.
How did you get out of that?
What do you mean, how did I get out of
Well, how'd you get out of jail?
Actually, I filed a motion to come back because I had gotten ill in jail and I didn't have my medicine and everything while I was over there. And even Tiger Valley Regional Jail recommended me to be discharged.
Well, now, who was the magistrate in that original case?
Dana Miller.
Dana? Oh, okay.
Dana Miller is the one that sent me to jail, but Dacia Webb was the one that heard the trial, and everything was such a laughing, joking matter that they had to destroy the tapes, and that's the reason I could never really get it appealed up before.
Well, I remember that I heard the tapes. They were blank. You couldn't understand anything was on them.
Right. And with our Supreme Court ruling that any case were all lowercase, that if you can't have your evidence and stuff like that to fill it up, they either have to dismiss it or give you a new trial.
But they didn't give you a new trial, did they?
No.
They went ahead and found you guilty even though they didn't even have a record.
And now I even have it appealed to the West Virginia
And they're still
Supreme
trying
Court.
to take your home, take your possessions.
Right.
Well, that's right. That is. It's sad to think that our county has gotten that bad, but it has. It's a pretty corrupt bunch. That they would try to take. You're a senior citizen, right?
I'm
Living alone.
57.
Mm-hmm. So if they could do this to you, they could do it to anybody, couldn't they?
Yes.
Well, I know the county is getting worse and worse and worse. And it's a real shame about this, that they're trying to do this, especially in the fact that they never proved that there were any sheep killed.
Right.
It's hard to understand how they did that. Well, now, what do you think's your next step to go?
Along with maybe filing another motion in the court tomorrow in regards to having my vehicle picked up and everything.
Well, yeah, you need your vehicle. If you were to have a stroke right now, you couldn't even get down to the clinic at Greenbank, could you?
No.
And so
I live 4 miles from the Greenbank post office on the Wesley Chapel Road.
And so it's about a mile or so there from there to the clinic.
Right.
So you're about 5 miles away with no close transportation.
Yeah, but you're just thinking about doctors. Like you've got to think about going to a store.
You have no way to get out to go get your groceries. Man, this is bizarre. I can't believe, Charlotte, this county has turned out this bad. I really can't believe that, but it has. Well, yeah, it sounds like you're going to have to call your lawyer and see what he can do about it.
Right.
Maybe he can get a stay of execution, but in that case, they'll have to bring your car back, won't they? Or provide transportation. Maybe they're going to provide you transportation to go to the grocery store. Do you have any medical appointments to meet?
I had pneumonia. Went to the doctor, was diagnosed by Dr. Jennifer Beveridge, and went back to see her today.
Well, now, she's in Marlton.
No, she was in Greenbank at the clinic today.
And
I saw her today.
You were at Dr. Beveridge's office today.
Right.
So what time of day did they come to take your car?
They waited to after 6 o'clock so that I couldn't call anyone.
Oh, but they made but they didn't want. That's right. They wanted to just seize your car and take it away. Then you wouldn't have any transportation at all.
I don't have any transportation at all.
Period.
Right.
Well, maybe you can get a hold of your lawyer tomorrow and he can have a little talk with Gene. They can realize what they've done to a person. I cannot believe that they would take your only transportation. If you'd had 2 cars, I can understand that. You only got one. You don't have any car now.
No.
Can't get to the doctor?
Absolutely none.
And
can't even get to the store.
Can't even get to the store to buy groceries.
Right.
Well, I'll tell you what I'll do. We'll get this out on the internet. We'll see what I've got over 2,000 friends. We're going to see what's going on here, and we'll let them know about this.
Okay.
Maybe they'll remember it when it comes election time.
Let's hope.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Bye.
Bye-bye.